Hi everyone, welcome to Panda's tutorial series where we are trying to understand data science. So as a part of this video, we are going to tackle CSV file, that means comma separated value files. How do I deal with respect to reading a file as well as writing a file and then performing the operations that are normally required as part of doing data science activities. So first we'll try to understand the functions that are available as part of pandas. So the first function that is available is read underscore CSV, and in the bracket you basically provide the file name. So this is the function that you normally give for doing the reading operation. So this is going to open a CSV file for reading. Then you can provide the fully qualified path with the file name. Otherwise the current directory is used to find the file. The another function which is part of writing is basically you create a data frame, and then from using the data frame or using that particular data that you have in the data frame, so you basically make use of df dot to underscore csv. There you provide the file name, then you provide whether you want the index to be preserved, then header and the column. So it has several options are available as part of write operation. So this is going to export data frame data to a CSV file. Then here the file name parameter is the output file name. The index, if you set it to false, then no index is basically outputted. Otherwise, it's basically default is true. Then header false, no header in that case. Otherwise, default will be true. So normally header also will go in the external file or the output file. Then columns, so exporting the selective columns of the data, because many times if suppose if your file is having 10 columns and you want to create a file with only say 3 columns, then in that case you are going to basically export it selectively. So that particular time you will require columns basically as an option, and that will allow you to do selective columns data choice. Then another supporting functions is head and tail. So head allows me to return the top few rows. By default the value is 5. That means if you do not pass any parameter, then 5 rows are normally shown. Otherwise basically you can specify how many rows you want of the topmost rows. So suppose if you give 10, then it will provide you the rows which are 10, top 10 rows. Similarly the tail function is there, df.tail. Again by default value is 5, and you can change it to say 3, 4, 10 or whatever, and that means whatever the bottom rows you want to take a look at it, you can basically see it using df.tail function. So head and tail are pretty handy functions when you want to take a look at how the data is coming. So the functions are read. So for doing reading of a file, we are going to make use of read underscore csv. For writing, that means creating a file, we are going to make use of df, that means a data frame object, and then dot to underscore csv. That is what we are going to take a look at it. So these are the two important functions, head read and to csv, and then supporting functions are head and tail. So let's now try to understand the basic thing about file read. So let's say that I am going to open a file which is having good amount of data, say for example temperature data of a city. Let's say that this data is easily available. So New York data is normally many people use it. So we can make use of this code, which is when we import the pandas as pd, then pd.read underscore csv, then you provide the fully qualified file name, or it can be in the current directory, and then you can print the data frame. And then if you want to take a look at the maximum temperature, then you can make use of the max function. That means you can do some little bit of processing. Similarly, you can have a data where you are trying to write a loop. However, you don't need to write a loop because pandas provide you a very simple and elegant way. Let's say I want to find the data where on which date find out those dates where it was a rainy day. So you basically first put a sort of an outer loop, so that you do it using df and then in single quotes date, and then on this data you run a sort of an inner loop where you ensure to match events is equal to rain. So where then from this set it's going to take out only those subset where you basically are going to have days where it has rained. So it's like a filter. Then you can replace the values, not available values, by using say 0, like that. So we will take a look at this practical. Then similarly you can try to find the mean speed of the data that you have. So let's now go to Jupyter and we'll try to see this. So it's a very simple code. So first we will import pandas, then we are going to read this file, which is a New York data. So I can quickly show you this New York data. So this New York data is huge. It is good amount of data is there. So you can see there are several columns from almost from A to basically almost Z. So there are 26 columns are there, and then there is a voluminous data. So roughly from 2000 this data is there. Okay, and probably it will be in 2015. Okay, so some data, so around 20 5750 lines are there. It's a good amount of data is there, and each column has a name. So let us say that this is the name of the speed column. So max dot wind dot speed dot miles per hour. So this is in miles per hour, this is the speed. So like that you can take a look at max temperature in Fahrenheit, then mean temperature, then minimum temperature, this is mean, this is minimum, like that. So this is voluminous data. So this is that Excel file nyc_1. So we'll basically read this. So let me just read it and print some sample 5 rows. So you can see that basically it is printing the date, then the temperature. So this doesn't have any meaning, unnamed. We will come to, this is not of any use to us, that's why there is no name. This is just a running number in the Excel file. So this is just a running number, so that's why there is unnamed data is printed, and the rest are all having a column name. So date, max temperature, like that you have this, and then you also have max speed in max wind speed miles per hour. So like that you have basically this information. So we can, if you want only three this one, so you can basically print only 3 rows can get printed. So you can see here 3 rows and 26 columns it is showing. Then if I want to find the maximum temperature here, so the name of the column is max dot temperature f. So we are going to use a function dot max on it. So and then in this data frame, so this is the data frame. So we are going to access a particular column. So accessing is very easy in the this is like an array, the way in which we do it in C programs or any other programming, or in Python. Similarly here we do that. So here you just give the name of the column and then you use the max function. So if I do it, then it's going to show me the maximum temperature that is available in this data of whatever I just have shown you the Excel file. Then I can get those events where it has rained. So those dates where it has rained, so I just told you. So you basically are going to first filter it out with a date, and then on that data or on that set you are going to create a subset where events is equal to rain. So if I just do that, then it's going to basically pull that and it's going to show those dates where it has rained. So like that you can get the data. So it's a voluminous data again. Then we can do some other processing. Let's say that whenever I don't have a data, because many times whenever such Excels are available, many times not all the rows are filled. Some of the rows are either empty, or some of the rows are having wrong values, say negative values or whatever. We don't know whether it is negative is a correct value or not, or at times it may be just empty. Sometimes it may be just written NA, that means not available. So in those cases we can quickly process it doing like this. So there is a function called as fill NA. So using this fill NA we can just simply do that. So here you can see you can take a help of this. So by doing shift tab you can get a help of this. So shift tab is going to provide you a help. So fill NA, that means not available values, and then you can tell how you want to do that. So if I want to say replace those values by using 0, that means whatever the values are not available you just make it 0, and then you compute the mean speed. Because what will happen if you have a speed and that speed column is, let's say is basically empty, or it has some wrong junk, then in that case it's not going to calculate. It may end up the calculation will not occur correctly. So better to make it 0, and then because then 0 becomes a numeric value and then you calculate the mean. So here we can just quickly do that, and it is coming roughly around 21 miles per hour is the approximate mean speed. So this is the very basic thing that we can do on the on the file read operation. Now let's try to make it little complicated. So we will go to the next slide. Now in this we are going to basically read the file, and here we are going to read some stock data, and we are going to basically use again the function read underscore CSV, and the name of the file is stock underscore data.csv, and then we are going to read only 3 rows. So why with 3 rows? Because we can control. So I just wanted to show you that. So by using this variable nrows is equal to, or this parameter nrows, you can tell how many lines you want to select. So and then if you print the data frame, so let us say that this is the stock data that is available. So this is the share code, or the ticker it is called as actually. So ticker, so Aurobindo Pharma, HDFC Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, then Reliance Industries and TCS. So these are, let's say, the tickers, and these are the EPS, means earning per share. So these are all the different values. Then let us say these are some values of profit. Then this is the share price on that particular day, some data, some day it is old data. And then let's say these are the important people, say like Uday Kotak is the owner of Kotak Mahindra, then Mukesh Ambani for Reliance, like that. Some few Deepak Parikh for HDFC Bank, like that. So these are some important people, just names are given. So this is the data that is available to me in the stock data, stock underscore data.csv, and now I want to basically pull only three rows. So I can do using nrows is equal to 3. Then similarly I can skip the rows. So suppose if I say skip rows parameter, if I just set it, then it will start reading from the second row. So suppose if I have another data, say stock data underscore stock underscore data 1, say this is another data CSV file, and then I say skip rows is equal to 1, then in that case it is going to skip, and this particular information, whatever is written stock data will not come. So let's take a look at this hands-on. So we will go to Jupyter. Let's go to this. So here we will import pandas. Then we are going to read this stock data. So let's read this stock data, and now we are basically printing the full data that is available. So this is the stock data that is available. So you can see it is tickers, EPS, profit, price and people. So these are all the stock data that is available to me. So tickers, EPS, like that. So this data. Now I want to read only few lines, say 3 rows. Then I can say nrows is equal to 3. Now suppose if I want to read only 2 rows, then I can just make nrows is equal to 2, then it will give only 0 and 1. So suppose if I just make it 3, then it will read 3. So that way I can control how many rows or lines, horizontal lines or the rows that I want to read. It's a very important facility. Then I can skip. So if I use skip rows is equal to 1, then let us go to this file stock underscore data, which I just told you in the slide. So here now you can see something is written stock data. Now this particular line or this row doesn't have any meaning as such. It just tells a user that there is some data which is called as stock data, and the actual data starts from row number or 2. So that means I need to skip this particular thing. So how do I do that? So I basically say here skip rows is equal to 1, and then you read the file and create a data frame. So now you can see that stock data, that whatever that particular word was written, that has gone. So it has basically skipped the row is equal to skip rows 1. So it has skipped the skipping of the rows. It has skipped the row. Then instead of skip rows, some people make use of a header attribute. So header attribute is similar to skip rows. So let us read the same data, and then we make use of header is equal to 1. That means we now tell which is the header. That means automatically it is skipping the that particular rows. So suppose if I go here and say header is equal to this particular thing. So when I say header, so automatically this wherever there is this particular thing is written stock data, so that will get skipped. So let's now run this. So it is like using header, it tells that header is located at row number 1. So index starts from 0, so header is equal to 1. That means row is equal to 2 in the CSV file. So there is a little difference when it comes to skip rows and header. So header is basically it starts from 0, however rows start from 1. So that is what basically is important. So index starts from 0, so header is equal to 1 means row is equal to 2 in the CSV file. So let's run this. So yeah, you can see that basically both have performed similar. So either you use skip rows or you use the header. Many people depending on the convenience they use. If they want to go with header, that means they know which is the header, then in that case they are going to specify it accordingly. So this is about the stock data. Then I can have the, if there is no header row and then I want to basically give the header or the names on the fly, then how do I do? So let us see this file stock data underscore 2. So we will see this file. So here now you see there is no header. Now this is just some data that is given to me. Now I can understand the data, but to another person it may not make any sense. So now I need to name the column. So however, I don't want to change this Excel file because this is something like a source. So to do that, I can basically go and do the naming of basically the naming. I can just name it on the fly. So there I can do just say header is none, and then I give the names of the columns as names is equal to ticker, then EPS, profit, price and people. So accordingly to each of the columns is going to keep the column name. So that's name attribute we are using, and this particular facility is called as giving header names on the fly. So let's run it. So you can see now automatically the names have come. So many times the data doesn't have header name, so you basically provide it on the fly. Then there are cases where you are going to clean the data. So let us say that we are once again going to read this stock data 3. So let's read this, and now here you see there is somewhere there is this particular name for Aurobindo Pharma, the owner name is not available, so NA is written. And at times here earning per share is given -1, which we know that it's wrong because Reliance is a hugely profitable company. So earning per share cannot be negative. Then similarly profit for TCS, again we know that it's a profitable company, it cannot be negative. So it's not a loss making company, and again it's just -1. That means now you need to take care of these such things. Suppose if you have voluminous data, then how do you do that? Because here as an example we are taking only 4 or 5 rows. But in voluminous data like the temperature data, then how are we going to deal with it? So to deal with such things, you can make use of, you read the file and then you say that which are the NA values. So there you basically say NA values can be not available, NA and -1. So those are the places where we are going to do it in a special way. So here you can see instead of NA now it has written not a number. Similarly here it has written not a number and then the not a number. That means to a person who is now trying to read this, it knows that this particular value is not available. Otherwise RIL -1 will suddenly he may get a feeling, say for TCS profit is -1, oh TCS is making a loss. So that's not the case. So the point here is this NAN gives me a better readability and processing ability. Then on the further lines of cleaning, I can do it in a better way of controlling it. So to control it, I can do the data wrangling. It is called as data wrangling or data cleaning. So we can make use of a dictionary rather than using it generally like NA values. So we can do column by column. So we can once again we read this stock data 3. So this is that stock data 3, and we know here it is NA, here it is -1, here it is -1. So now I want to do the processing. So for each of the column now I want to treat it. So what do? I make use of a property called as NA values, and then I define a dictionary. So for this EPS column, not available, NA are available. That means these are the two which are allowed. Similarly for a profit, not available, NA and -1, and then the people not available and NA. So this is now I'm controlling it at actually the column level rather than just generally, which I did it in earlier one where I didn't have any control. Here however I have control at the column level. So if I run it, now you can take a look at it here. So here however it has already come -1. So there could be a chance, or the -1 I am fine with it, and here I am just putting it NAN and here I am putting it NAN. However for EPS I'm just keeping it as it is. That means -1 is kept as it is. So we are not changing it. So that's the way you basically perform this read CSV file. So we have done. So just to summarize, we have basically made use of this header property. Then we have also you understood the skip rows. Then we have changed the names of the column on the fly. So we have given that. So that we have seen. Then we cleaned the data. So here we have seen that we have cleaned the data. Then similarly we have basically controlled using the dictionary, where we basically use the dictionary and then controlled it. So that's essentially as part of the file reading operations of file reading of a CSV file and the various operations that can be performed using find us. Thank you.